Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. Going to get to former 247 Sports and Rivals.com SEC reporter Justin Hokanson in a minute. A great interview. We cover a variety of topics all through the SEC and talk a little basketball. And we talk a little about my monologue today. And it's something that here at the Jboy Show, if you've been following us, we don't get political. And I made that decision before I even started the show. You know, I look out in the landscape and you have big companies that are all the way on one side, other ones that are all the way on the other side. And there's not a lot of people that are right down that middle lane. And if you look at recent polling, I believe it's 89% of Americans want politics out of their sports and entertainment. And over this past year and COVID and the pandemic has really, shown you, some of these sports journalists and people that cover how much of an agenda that they have outside of covering sports. And I have no problem with people having opinions politically. I have opinions politically, but my job is not to tell you my political opinions. We don't get the amount of downloads and traffic and exposure we get because people care about what I think. A guy that was a player and a coach thinks about politics. And, with my friends and stuff like that, I can talk about it and it's fine. But when we start bleeding it into sports, something that actually brings us together, even if you're on opposing teams, just think about it, sitting in the stadium, watching your favorite team, sitting in the arena, watching your favorite team. Hell, sitting on the pitch, watching your favorite team in the stands, watching the pitch. If your team does something good and you celebrate with strangers you don't even know that have the same team colors that you have on, you don't care about their political affiliation. That has nothing to do with what's going on or why you're there. Sports brings us together, especially, you look at college football down in the Southeast. It's a fabric of our society. You're sitting in that stadium watching your team play, and one of your guys breaks off a big run for the touchdown. It doesn't matter if you support a certain bill or you think in a certain way along a party line. For those 2.5, 3 hours, that's an escape from that. And what worries me is not that players can be outspoken. I mean, they should have the right to say what they want, but that a lot of people at major places that cover sports act more like political agenda drivers than somebody covering the sport. And there's been a lot of people that got exposed, especially at certain places, that I don't know if they'll ever get their reputation back. And in today's society, it's so divisive. The political landscape is so divisive. We need sports to help bring us together, because that's the goal, is to come together, to be able to have different ideas that you can share and bring them together without any problems. But if we start letting the divisiveness of politics bleed into sports, even as much as we have now, I feel like we're going to ruin one of the very few elements of society left that can actually bring us together. You look at some of these rivalries, Auburn, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, all these, Oklahoma, Texas. I'm sick of watching sports, and half of it, whether it be highlights or whatever, is all about political narratives. Cover the damn game. Stop talking about Bills and start talking about the Buffalo Bills. I don't understand it. It's not good for us. And if you want to talk politics, go to a political channel. There's a million of them now. But for the people that when they want to hear about sports, they just want to hear about sports, we got you. But for every other place in society that is trying to use sports to drive political agendas, whatever they may be, stop doing it. You're poisoning the well. It's one of the few things we have left. And if we let that go, I don't know what's going to happen. But I can promise you this. Every time you turn into the Jboy Show, we're not talking about left, right, middle, up and down. No. The only thing we're talking about left is zone to the left. The only thing we're talking about right is power to the right. You're going to get sports from us. And I wish a lot of other people would take that lesson as well. Let's get to Justin Hokanson. Let's continue to win the water cooler.